The stars burned red in the eastern arm of the galaxy, a scar of dying suns and drifting wreckage that stretched for light years. The war had consumed everything here. Civilizations older than humanity had been turned to ash. The Alliance called it the Devourer Front. The Voraath were not an army. They were a hunger. Each of their ships was a living creature, grown in dark matter cocoons, pulsing with red light and plasma veins. They moved not with formation, but instinct, like wolves tearing through a herd. The first fleets sent against them were devoured whole. And now, the Alliance's last stand hovered at the edge of that abyss. Dozens of species, united by desperation. Thousands of ships, fractured, limping, terrified. The fleet command tower of the Tlar Dominion floated above the world of Halcyon Prime, surrounded by debris fields and dying engines. Their admiral, a crystalline being of light and mind, watched the void beyond. No reinforcements. No hope. And then the humans arrived. No fanfare. No broadcast. Just, arrival. Sensors screamed warnings as the dark veil parted, hundreds of signatures emerging from FTL space in absolute silence. Their hulls were matte black, absorbing starlight, almost invisible against the void. The ships bore no markings, no insignias, only faint blue lines tracing along their edges like veins of energy under skin. The humans had come. Alliance ships turned to watch. Even the Voraath paused, as if instinctively sensing something that did not fit within the natural order of things. The human flagship, Erebus, emerged last, a behemoth so vast that it blotted out an entire star behind it. Its surface rippled with shifting armor plates, adaptive systems alive with motion. When it stopped, the Warzone seemed to stop breathing with it. Across the comms, no one spoke. The human fleet held formation. Not advancing. Not scanning. Not transmitting. They simply existed there, like a mountain that had always been. Then, a single message broadcasted across every known frequency. Not from the human commander. From an automated beacon. Engagement parameters confirmed. Observation recommended. Stand clear. The Alliance didn't understand. The Voraath didn't care. The Devourer fleets surged forward, hundreds of bioships accelerating, plasma trails bleeding red fire through the black. They moved with the frenzy of predators tasting fear. And still, the humans did not move. No defensive grids. No evasive maneuvers. Just silence. The first wave of Voraath vessels reached weapon range. Energy spikes flared, plasma lances screamed across the void. Entire volleys hit the front line of human ships. And vanished. No explosions. No ripples. Just, gone. As if the space itself had rejected the attack. The observers thought it was impossible, that maybe their sensors were malfunctioning. Then, before they could even process the data, the human fleet responded. There was no flash. No beam. No sound. Just, absence. A section of space where 100 Voraath ships had been, empty. The stars reappeared where they had not shone in minutes. The Alliance scanners recalibrated and found nothing. No debris. No energy signature. No life. The humans had erased them. And then, they moved. Their fleet shifted as one organism, a tidal motion, fluid and unstoppable. The smaller destroyers formed arcs, carving gravitational lines through the void, bending light and matter around them. The capital ships deployed mirrored fields that reflected entire energy storms back toward their origin. The Voraath screamed through every wavelength their hive could broadcast, their biological minds flooded with instinctual terror. They tried to retreat. The humans didn't let them. Within minutes, the battlefield became a theater of annihilation. Light bent, matter collapsed, and physics screamed under weapons that didn't belong to any known science. Alliance ships drifted back, silent, watching a species that fought not like warriors, but like something older. Something inevitable. In the command tower of the Tlar, the Admiral whispered to itself in light, "They don't fight to win, they fight to end." By the 22nd minute of engagement, the Warzone was silent again. The Voraath were gone. Not defeated, erased. Human ships remained motionless. Then, almost gently, the Erebus transmitted one final message. Zone sanitized. Hostile matter density, null. Mission complete. And then they turned away. No celebration. No demand for praise. No claim of victory. The humans entered FTL, one by one, vanishing into folds of space like shadows retreating from dawn. The Alliance fleets floated there, surrounded by nothing, only echoes of war and the sound of their own disbelief. The Admiral of the Tlar recorded the event and sent it to every council in the galaxy. The file was named the Human Intervention, Halcyon Anomaly. And for the first time in millennia, the Alliance began to whisper among themselves. Who were these beings from Sol? What had they seen, or survived, that gave them such quiet precision, such absolute ruthlessness? And if this was what they could do to an enemy, what would they do to those who crossed them? Weeks passed. Systems repaired. Wrecks cleared. Yet across the entire sector, the space where the Voraath had been remained wrong. Empty in a way that physics couldn't explain. No radiation. No gravity fluctuation. It was as if the humans had deleted a piece of existence itself. Scientists called it spatial sterilization. The humans didn't respond. When the Alliance sent envoys to thank them, they found no trace of the fleet. Only a single satellite orbiting Halcyon Prime, transmitting one repeating phrase in every known language. Humanity does not make war. Humanity ends it. The galaxy never looked at Earth the same way again. The message echoed across the galaxy for weeks: humanity does not make war. Humanity ends it. At first, many dismissed it as bravado, a statement made by a newly risen species trying to carve a name for itself among the stars. But the archives did not lie. Every sensor record, every ship's log, every telemetry feed confirmed it. The humans had erased a fleet that had consumed empires. The Voraath had existed for eons, feeding on planets and biomass, their conquest stretching across centuries. Even the oldest civilizations had never found a way to destroy them completely. They could be wounded, delayed, forced to retreat, but never erased. Until now. The Alliance High Council convened an emergency summit on Orion Prime, the cradle of their unity. It was a city world of glass towers and luminous oceans, its atmosphere humming with orbital stations and artificial suns. Representatives of hundreds of species filled the vast council chamber, each glowing, clicking, or whispering in their own way. At the center, the human delegation sat silent. They were not what the others had expected. No flamboyant uniforms, no ostentatious presence. Just a handful of officers in dark attire, their faces unreadable, their postures steady and still. When the debate began, it wasn't directed at them, but around them. What had they done? How? What kind of technology could wipe a species from existence, leaving not even atomic residue? Some whispered it was forbidden AI. Others claimed it was temporal weaponry, rewriting the event itself. The most superstitious among them said the humans had bargained with the void. No answer came. Until one of the elder species, the Zalorians, beings of energy and thought, spoke through the hall, their voice resonating across every frequency. You do not understand what you have unleashed. You tamper with the foundation of space itself. The human commander, Admiral Rhea Locke, looked up. Her expression didn't change, but her voice carried the weight of something far older than her years. We didn't tamper. We remembered. The silence that followed was not one of confusion, but of fear. Because beneath that single word, remembered, lay a truth the galaxy hadn't yet realized. Humanity hadn't created their weapons to win a new war. They had rebuilt something they had already used before. The archives of Sol were sealed, but whispers began to circulate among the Alliance's intelligence networks. Files marked Prestellar History referenced an extinction event, long before humanity's space age, a war fought not between nations, but against something buried beneath their own skies. A war that nearly ended them before they ever reached the stars. The human weapons, the dark matter erasure fields, the gravity tears, the null space engines, were not inventions of expansion. They were scars of survival. The galaxy, for all its ancient wisdom, had never faced true extinction. Humanity had, and they had learned from it. The Voraath had been a mirror, reflecting the predators that once stalked Earth's early nights. When humanity looked into that reflection, they didn't flinch. They recognized it. Across the void, rumors spread faster than light. Entire sectors began to reconsider treaties, to question whether humanity's silence was strategic or moral. Some feared them. Some revered them. All of them watched. And then, one night, another signal appeared. Unscheduled. Untraceable. Broadcast across every Alliance channel. It was a distress call, not from the humans, but from the Voraath home cluster. The coordinates were exact. The message was short. And what it showed would be etched into galactic memory forever. A swarm of Voraath, larger than any ever recorded, surrounded a single black human warship. The Erebus. The biofleet converged, thousands of vessels screaming across subspace. The video feed caught flashes, reality bending, light folding, impossible geometries flickering through the black. And then, in a single moment of silence, every signal ended. The entire star cluster, its systems, planets, suns, vanished. Not destroyed. Deleted. The Alliance sat in stunned horror. The transmission was verified. The energy readings were beyond measurable scale. The human fleet had not gone to war again. They had gone to finish something. And when questioned, Earth remained silent. Weeks later, an envoy ship approached Sol. No response. No escorts. Just a black sphere in orbit around Earth, its surface perfectly smooth. When probes scanned it, they detected a pattern beneath the surface, faint, pulsing. A message encoded in gravimetric waves. It read: Containment achieved. Cycle complete. The Alliance scientists couldn't decipher what cycle referred to. But within the human archives, those who had seen deeper, knew. The humans had spoken of echo wars. Conflicts that happened not in space or time, but between them. Wars that reset reality to prevent annihilation. The Voraath hadn't been the first. They had been the next. The humans were not warriors. They were custodians, silent, patient, ancient in purpose. They had seen the edge of the universe and chosen to guard it. And so, the galaxy continued to live, under quiet protection, under unseen eyes that watched from the darkness beyond mapped space. Every so often, a listening post in the outer rim would pick up an impossible signature, a flicker of gravitational noise, a pulse of erased coordinates. And always, it came with a single line of metadata, encoded in every language humanity had ever learned. Threat neutralized. Reality stabilized. Proceed with life. The universe never again doubted what humanity could do. But what frightened them most was not their power. It was their restraint. For if this was what humans did when provoked, what would they unleash if they truly decided to conquer? Galactic historians would later write that the day humanity entered the Warzone was the day the universe changed its definition of fear. They no longer feared extinction. They feared being forgotten.